checking architecture at the ICA London. We are here to see the second part of Cellar by Loris Greaud. Let's taste the illusion.
We're going through a fiction, which is this kind of contemporary fairy tale about a door that projects itself into an architecture, into a studio. And there is this particular moment in the fiction when the singer drinks some black champagne, and she was warned by the narrator to drink the black champagne at room temperatures, otherwise the room will start multiplying. The ICA, it is called Cellar once is always twice, and it was this idea of sampling and make a focus on this particular part of the libretto and put it into the reality. Like you enter the show and you have three almost identical same space, which create with the displacement a kind of feeling of déjà vu, and the fiction is at its paroxysm when the three identical triplets are coming in each room and serve you some black champagne. So it's really like you are entering the fiction, or the fiction is entering the reality. At the Palais de Tokyo, the show was only talking about architecture and only talking about the studio without never showing it. It was like the MacGuffin of the show, like the absent form. And the show was constructed like if the architecture was dreaming about itself. The libretto and the pieces that you can see in the show and that you can experiment was more how the pieces and how the fiction activate each other. But at the ICA, it's more really get inside the fiction.
Exactly.
Actually, what we've done is that we already record the opera with the Orchestre Philharmonique de Radio France. And we're gonna stage the opera, but it's really entangled with the idea of building the studio, actually. For me, all the project was about how to make that the score and the duration of exhibition and the architecture could be only one form and one surface. And in this way, you can imagine a few things, like when we're going to start building the studio, the opera is going to be replayed at the opera.
Okay.
So if you imagine that the score and that the libretto is the architecture, then the object is separated into form that are a kind of oxymoron. When I'm talking about the studio, I'm talking about, of course, a real material studio, but also the idea of a studio. Because it's a kind of, it's strange because nowadays it's almost a romantical idea of an artist having a studio. But I really believe that the place where you're living transform your imagination and your behavior and your way of how you look to the world. I don't mean that I change something to the world, but I'm really more interested about, for example, this project Cellar, which are the candy.
Yeah.
And I think it's a next step for me to do this kind of stuff, because it's really a conceptual way of doing things, doing things like producing this object that is tasteless and that you have to project a taste on it. So projecting a taste is projecting an idea on a world or reactivating something. This show, or it's more a project than a show, Cellar. It's more a project that you have to believe in than watching or seeing.